Hi there guys, my name's The Reaper, and in today's video I'm going to be taking a butcher's at Tempest. So just for those who aren't aware, taking a butcher's, it's an English phrase basically meaning to have a quick look at something or quickly assess something for its value. So the idea of this series that I do is basically to be kind of be between halfway between a first impressions and a review series. I'd say maybe slightly more erring towards a first impression. So basically the idea is, say you're browsing through the Steam store, game crops up, maybe there's a Steam sale on, so there's a lot of stuff on sale that you're not familiar with. The game captures your eye, you think, alright, looks interesting, but I need to know a bit more before I drop any money. Or a friend recommends your game, says, oh, you'll like this, I think maybe we could play together, seems like your thing. You think, okay, I don't want to look through loads of Let's Play footage to try and work it out. Hopefully this video can be of some use to you. So the idea is, start watching the video, I'll show you the basic mechanics of the game, what it looks like, how it plays out, and kind of what it basically entails, so you can get an idea of if you're going to like it or not. And for the rest of the video, anything else I think you might need to know to make an informed decision. So price point, if there's bugs or performance issues that are going to affect the game, and how badly I think they crop up. If there's a free-to-play model, if it's a free-to-play game for example, this one isn't, so we're okay there. If it's in early access, you'll need to know that, obviously. In this case, Tempest is an early access game. But basically anything else I think you might need to know to make an informed decision, a bit of my opinion about the game thrown in, any sort of personal things I might want to think about it to throw in there just as a point of reference. Other than that, basically everything you might need to know, so by the end of the video you can make an informed decision. Am I going to buy this game? Am I going to give it a try, yes or no? So, explanation out of the way. Tempest is a pirate game in early access, as I said. It's kind of been on the Steam store since I think late 2015. I think it was December 2015 it cropped up on the early access page. I was looking for sort of games to try. I kind of just stumbled on it by accident. I think I was looking for stuff, didn't even appear on the new releases. It might have just been me, it might have been a glitch, I'm not sure. But it's quite an interesting and atmospheric pirate game. Pirate games don't have a particularly good track record. I'm not sure what it is. There seems to be a bit of a curse in regards to pirate video games. Sid Meier's Pirates is one of the most popular ones, but that's over a decade old. And I think the most recent example of a well-made popular pirate-based game is probably Assassin's Creed 4. But again, that was kind of a lot of good sort of pirate-based mechanics and a sort of lot of historical pirate figures, but set in an Assassin's Creed game. You had, people were sort of going for a pirate game and then getting annoyed having to do a load of Assassin's Creed stuff. So pirate games don't have a brilliant track record. I'm hoping this might actually buck the trend. It's a really interesting game. So I'm just going to have a brief cut. I'm going to jump into the game, show you all the mechanics, and hopefully this might be something that can buck the trend of a not particularly good run of pirate games. So I'm going to have a brief cut now. Okay, so I've just hit play. What happens is you jump into kind of the overworld map thing. So basically there's two different areas. I've got the eastern sort of seas here, and if I travel along the map and hit this little thing here, I can go into a little sort of, not necessarily cutscene, you go into a kind of real-time thing. You have to fight your way through sort of little sort of area that will allow you to progress into the other seas. So there's a slight transition between the two. So basically this is my ship here, currently circled here, and you can see the sort of map. There's land areas and there's forts, which are these sort of black things with little castles on them. They're forts, they're defensible structures, and there's towns here as well, which are the ones with circles. They've got stars next to them, that means they're a bit bigger. So this is the capital of what's called the Order here, with the orange and white flag. There are a few different factions in the game, that's one of them. So it's got 3 stars, so that's their capital. And they've got a 1-star city there, 1-star one, and a 2-star city there, which is a bit bigger. There's quite a few different factions. You've got another one there, that's well, I can't remember the name, but one of the other factions. Different one over here, different one down there. You've got some you've got a pirate faction as well, and there's a few different ones as well. What I'll do is I'll show you the list. That'll make it a bit easier. So if I click on my journal here, so I've got 5 different tab options here. You can see this one at any point you're in sea. So these are all my current tasks. So you can go into towns and get quests. Nothing too complicated. You go in, you get the quest, you have to do a certain task, you'll get whatever reward it is. It doesn't tell you the reward, but there you are. Second thing, just gives you a few little notes, a few sort of basic little story things that's happened. It's basically not really a story-driven game. There's kind of a sort of fairly basic world. There's a few different factions, a few different named characters. Basically, you start out having your ship just being sunk. So you start out with a very basic ship, and your first few quests are basically to kind of go and retrieve kind of your old crewmates who you can put in your ship. So it's not really a big story focus. It's kind of just a very basic setting. Here's a few different factions. Here's the sea. You're not tied to any one faction. You can play however you like, essentially. You're not restricted. Kind of a sandbox. Do what you like. Click on that, that's all my equipment. So all the equipment I've got either stored or on the ship or as part of the ship. So I've got the type of sail we've got, the type of hull I've got all my different items. So I've got, say, all my different types of ammunition. I've got my boarding weapons if I want to do a boarding action. I've got my spyglass that I've bought, and sort of the guns I've got, and any other things, medicines, types of cannonballs, basically every item you've got you can take a brief look at any point. Just gives you sort of a rundown of a list. Here's the factions attitude. So there's all these different factions. You've got the pirates there, they're kind of all over the place. And there's the seekers, who are kind of they only have kind of one city, and they've got loads of magical artifacts. All the other ones are basically just, you can choose to side with a certain faction. If you blow up their ships, or you kind of complete quests against them, they'll hate you more. If you do quests for them, if you blow up their enemies, they'll like you a bit more. So basically you can choose to side with certain factions. They have different effects depending on which faction you side with, if any, and you'll get kind of effects based on what that is. You've got your reputation here as well, so there's 5 different reputations thing. This is quite a cool little system. This is kind of a way of your playstyle when you're going around fighting other ships affects your reputation, and whatever your reputation is going to give you certain stat bonuses. You can't choose these are purely based on how you play in your fight. So I've got 279%, I've got a ton of points, and that's unlocked sharp-sighted hawk. Basically my playstyle with my ships is I've equipped long range guns. I tend to kind of stay out of range. I've got a fairly fast ship, stay out of range, turn, whittle them down at long range, so I'm stay out of range, and I've got generally enough speed to kind of stay out of the way of everyone, stay back, far out of range, whittle them down, just keep moving around, stay at long range, whittle them down over time. That's basically giving me a reputation as sharp-sighted hawk, and it gives me 20% accuracy of long range fire. So there's all these different ones. There's the hare here. I had that at one point when I had to run from a few fights, so that one got up. So if you kind of try and escape and run for a few fights, you're going to get the hare reputation, which basically gives you more speed and manoeuvrability. And basically, if you play enough to a certain play style, you're going to get stats based on how you've decided, or your reputation about how you play, which is quite it's quite a cool system, because it's kind of a form of specking, but you don't choose what you decide. It's basically it's based entirely on how you play. So it's not I'm going to choose to do this. It's you're going to get a bonus based on how you play, which is quite a cool little thing. It's not something I've really seen before. That's quite a cool system. So that's just a brief explanation of that. I think that's the last one. The last thing is just your game progress. Just gives you basic rundown stats, how many ballings you've done, how many cannonballs you used, your miss rate, etc. Just gives you kind of a little rundown of stats. So this is, you can move around the map however you like. You're not really restricted. There's no supply resources in the sense you don't need to keep up a certain amount of food or water, so you don't have to worry about that. It's kind of done to a basic system. You're not restricted. So literally just click wherever you want to go. You can also specify a specific path. So for example, I want to go around the land of storms. I want to hug the coast. I can kind of draw a line out exactly the way I want to go, and that's going to follow that exact line. Again, quite cool. As you travel around, you're going to get random encounters. So you saw one just pop up there, I decided to ignore it. So you can see a warfare. I can jump in and join the warfare fight if I want to between these two different factions. I quite like the order, which is the orange and white faction. So probably what I'm going to do is, just as an example, I'm going to join this one and I'm going to try and take out some enemy ships. Actually no, I'm not. I'm going to go find some pirates and shoot them, just so I don't mess up any factions, because I don't really care about fighting the pirates. So I'm just going to go around a bit and see if I can find some pirates to fight. Where are the pirates? There we go. Found some pirates. So, jumped into the board. There's the pirate ship there. I'm going to choose my ammunition. What I'm going to load is, I'm going to use my regular playstyle, like I said I did. I've loaded bar shots, so there's different types of ammunition you can use. So I've loaded bar shots, which basically do sail damage, so you can attack specific parts of the ships. So you can choose to attack, say, the hull of the ship. You can choose to try and take out the crew, or you can choose to try and take out the sails, which is going to limit their movement. So I'm going to try, and these sort of blue boxes, they basically give you a firing arc and distance. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to turn on my spyglass, which I've bought. If I keep the pirate ship in there, it's going to give me some more detailed stats. So it's going to tell me what equipment they've got, and they've got a mortar artifact. So I'm going to come out of that. That's going to give me also a breakdown. If I start attacking it, it's going to show me sort of the health. So you've got the sail health at the top, you've then got the hull health, so you've got the crew health, and you've got the hull health at the bottom. So occasionally it'll go into a little cutscene mode, doesn't always do that. So you can see I've done a lot of damage to the top bar, because I've done bar shots, which is sail damage, so I've done a lot of sail damage. Going to reload, going to turn around a bit. I'm currently at full sail. You can see in the bottom right hand corner, you can see my speed. And that's going to be affected by how much sail you've got up and how much wind. So what direction you're pointing. If the wind's behind you, you're going to get a bit more speed. So I hit with another broadside. Now basically what I've done there, you can see the sail damage. There's holes in all the sails. Managed to get a couple of shots off there. I'm going to switch to my regular cannonballs, which do regular damage. So it's just going to take out the hull. So what you can do is, say for example, the middle bar is the health of the crew that are on the deck. So what you can do, if you want to target, you can get stuff like grape shot and shrapnel. You can take out the crew, and then you can try and board them. So you don't necessarily have to target any one point. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to fire my regular cannonballs. So it's basically, he hasn't got very much sail. He's only got his forward guns, which is just a case he can fire a shot on me. But he's basically kind of a sitting duck, which is the way I like to play. So I'm just going to reload. See that circle going around there? If I get that fully closed, that's going to give me more accuracy on my guns. Lost one of my pirates. So that gun's reloading. I'm just going to do a quick turnaround, get a bit more sail up. Going to spin the ship round. Probably don't really need to here, but it's just kind of a quick, easy fight. I know I'd win, so I can explain the mechanics. So I'm going to try and keep that in long enough. If I keep that long enough without firing, it's going to increase my accuracy. Get a little cutscene. Took him out. So I probably didn't need to do the bar shot there because he's quite an easy target to take out. But I just thought I'd show you the different ways you can play. Now you can see once the fight's kind of over, there's no more nearby enemies. The game does a very good system. Normally you can go over there and deliberately pick up any flotsam and jetsam, which is basically if you destroy a ship, you see the little flashing icon there, the little sort of orange bar. I can pick up that equipment. But instead, because the fight's over, instead of me having to go over there, I can just automatically pick up any loose debris, which just saves you the time, which is a good little aspect to have. You can also speed up to 200% the regular speed. So basically you just want to go around exploring a bit. So I've wanted to kind of explore these caves a bit, or just go around here just to see what's what, maybe pick up some treasure anyone's left behind. You can't go on land, but you can pick up sort of bits of treasure that's been left behind by shipwrecks. So there's a shipwreck here. There might be some loot behind it, just by chance. Don't think there is in this case, but if you want to explore a bit, you're not restricted. And if there's no enemies around, it just lets you do it a bit quicker. So that's probably quite a good idea. Here we go. Found some loose debris here. So I can just pick this up, and I've done it a lot quicker because I've had the extra speed. If you then do encounter an enemy by chance, it will then slow you down and put you into battle mode. It's a good little system, so you can get in battles quite easily. No nearby enemies, so I'm just going to go back to the map mode. And because I've just had a fight, I've taken a bit of damage, and I'm going to go into the port of my favourite area. And I can show you kind of the town screen as well, so I think that kind of ties in nicely. You're not obliged to do any of these in particular. I can go attack these pirates, or I can just leave them. You won't be, or at least I've never encountered a situation where I've been going around the sea and I've been forced to do a certain fight. Even on a quest mission, I can travel the entire length of the sea and decide if I want to not to encounter anyone. So now the town is highlighted. You're going to click on that. So this is now the town screen. So you can tinker about with your ships and stuff. Now this pop-up's kind of come up here, basically telling me I've got some wounded crew and I should buy some more medicine. This kind of reminds me to bring it up. Basically, the biggest problem with the game at the moment, mainly due to its early access nature, the game has a lack of information about sort of details about how things work. Essentially, you kind of just get thrown in at the start and you get very little information about the game. Most of the basic sort of combat mechanics, the type of ammunition, speed, sort of upping and downing your sails is pretty self-explanatory, but the game doesn't really explain a lot of its mechanics. You kind of, when you first go into a town, it doesn't really give you a decent explanation as to how things work. There's a few mechanics I'm still not really sure how they work, and there's not really any game guides as well at the moment, so it's a bit of an annoying situation where the information is probably out there somewhere, but the game really should be explaining it better than it does at the moment. You do get occasional prompts like this one here telling me, or sort of reminding me I haven't got very much medicine, I need to heal my guys. And it gives you a little sort of prompt reminders to help you out, but the game should really do a better job of explaining some of its mechanics, just in stuff where it's not obvious how it works. So for example, when I was aiming at the enemy ship, you saw this little circle going around it. I didn't even know that was a thing. I don't know if it increases accuracy or damage or by how much. The game just because it's kind of in early access, I think it's something they've just chosen not to focus on at the moment. There's just a lack of details about what you need to do sometimes, which can be a bit annoying. But there we are, minor criticism. So this is the town screen. So basically what I'm going to do, if I click on this sort of letter icon here, that is going to give you your list of quests that you can do. So basically for every different faction there'll be a certain number of quests. So we're currently with the Protectorate. I've been calling them the Order, I beg your pardon. They're actually the Protectorate. And each faction's got a unique sort of special ability that you can take advantage of. They're going to have a set of quests that are unique to that faction, and the kind of better relation you have with them, the more quests you'll have access to. So for example, you normally get the first few you can be in whatever faction unless they hate you, and then you can get a few more as you kind of rank up. So if I do loads of missions for these guys and they really like me, I can get some little loyal mission, loyal, and I can get ally ones as well. So the closer you are with a certain faction, generally as a flip side you'll be less popular with another faction. That'll give you access to more of the quests. And each faction, as I say, has a unique kind of special ability. So in this case, the Protectorate gives me free healing in all the hostiles, so I don't have to buy medicines. Unfortunately at the moment there's no wounded crew members, so in this case didn't get to take that advantage, but basically if I had a bunch of wounded crewmen from that fight, I'll be able to take advantage there. There's different ones, so for example the pirates, just off the top of my head, you go there, they'll give you a bunch of free sort of rubbish cannonballs and they'll repair a bunch of your ship for free. So you can go to a certain faction's port to try to exploit a certain advantage. So if I had a bunch of wounded crew, I'd make sure to try and come here. I can save money by not buying medicines by healing my guys here. Just going to quickly repair the ship. So this is the ship setting here. This one again, not particularly good explanation. You can change your flag initially. So basically if you change your flag, you can change your allegiance to certain things. So basically if I switch and decide to have the pirate flag, pirates generally aren't going to attack me unless I think they actually completely hate my faction, which they don't at the moment. So if I fly the pirate flag, pirate ships aren't, if I go into a conflict with pirates and say a faction, the pirates won't attack me, but that faction might. I generally have the Trade Coalition one, just because it's my favourite faction and I can not get blown up by their ships. I tend to do a lot of their quests because they have some quite useful stuff. And there's a few sort of basic ship customization. Again, sort of explanations aren't great here. I think these kind of X symbols are just placeholders. They haven't designed certain things for them yet. I think this is purely just cosmetic customization. Captain skills. As you progress and kill stuff, you're going to get experience. That's eventually going to allow you to level up your captain. So basically, there's these kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is that 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 different things you can choose from. If you pick and try to put a point in one of these two things, they're basically paired off, you're not going to be able to put any points in others. So you see down here, I've put 2 points into gunner, which is going to give me more range, as I explained. That's my playstyle. I like to be at long range, so I've increased my range twice, but that has locked off accuracy, which is adjusted fire. So basically, to stop you being kind of too much of an all-rounder, if you spec into one, you won't be able to spec into another. So for example, if I went for sailor, which increases my speed, I would then not be able to get navigator, which says there blocks a sailor skill, which means I can then not get the maneuver. So you kind of have to choose between certain things, which again I think is a good little system. So I've chosen kind of range over accuracy. You can choose, say for example, speed over maneuverability. You can choose taking less damage from boarding as opposed to doing more damage from boarding. Artifact power over the sort of energy reserves. There are magical artifacts in this game and they are quite cool. Hopefully, I haven't actually unfortunately got them for my ship yet because they're very expensive, but when they do come across them, you can do cool stuff like raising krakens and creating sort of magical winds to help boost you along. You can have a cannonball catcher, which when someone fires cannonballs at you, you've got a chance to catch all the cannonballs and put them in your hold and fire them back, which is really cool. But it just gives you a brief idea of how you have to kind of spec into your captain. It's the magical artifact one in the middle. Again, haven't gotten it yet. I'm looking forward to the point where I get some. Here's the crew. One of my crew members was killed, so I'm just going to briefly hire another sailor. You automatically start, if you hire them, as green hands. So basically they're the kind of least ones. The more guys and the higher skill these guys are, so for example a green hand is plus 25 to sail and plus 7 efficiency, up to a pirate which is plus 15 efficiency and plus 100 sail. So basically these are going to affect where you've got your guys placed. So you've got the hull, the deck, which is basically your boarding crew and your counter boarding crew, and the sail, which is your sail efficiency and strength. So basically the more guys you put in each section, you can move them out how you like. So I can move the guy down here, I can move them back up here, I can move this particular guy down. So you can tinker with your crew how you like, and your crew size is going to depend on your ship. So in my case I've got 16. Wherever you put them is going to change your efficiency and kind of your health of each area. So for example, the current setup I've got at the moment, I've got 96% efficiency on my sails, so that's going to increase my sail efficiency, so that's speed and how quickly I can unfurl the sails. Here's a little brief tooltip for there, which is nice. And that's going to affect the sail strength, so that's my sail damage. You saw me earlier firing the bar shots, which did sail damage to that pirate ship. And that's going to increase his sail strength as well. So basically his sail strength is determined by the quality and the amount of people he's got there. Same in my case. I haven't got many guys on deck at the moment, so my kind of boarding strength isn't very high, but I've got quite good hull strength because I like having good cannon efficiency. So I've got quite a few experienced guys below deck. So basically efficiency determined by how many guys you've got and how good sort of they are. So if you hire new sailors from a port, they're always going to be green hands, which are kind of the worst. You can upgrade them over time, so you see these little arrows. So for example, my sail efficiency isn't quite high. I've got 3 XP, you get 1 XP for every ship you sink. I can upgrade this guy so we're now at 100%. And I'm going to move one of my guys up here to increase that a bit more. I'll move the lower skilled guy one down. So you can tinker with them however you like. So I've just got over 150 on each one. You can also, as you do quests, get specific guys. So I've got the boat, my boatswain here gives me a bit of a bonus. This guy gives me a bit of manoeuvring bonus. So over time you'll get maybe, I imagine, quite a few of these. You can, again, another way of customizing them, so you get unique guys who will affect you in a certain way in a certain area. So you've got sort of cannon guys, sail guys and deck guys. So hopefully that explains it clearly. So I've got 2 XP. I'm going to spend 1 just to upgrade that guy as well. So that gives you a brief idea. It's cool that you can maneuver your guys specifically around your ship, which is quite cool. You can upgrade them. It tells you exactly how good they are in each area. So again, you could put a crap ton of guys of your really good guys on your boarding crew and have maybe a good sail crew, so your hull's a bit weak, you weren't very good on cannon fire, but you were fast and you can board really well. So again, another way of customizing all your stuff. So that's the crew. The ship customization just allows you to kind of switch in and out, so I could change my sail, I could change my cannon, change my wood. Again, I've got my boarding weapons here, and I've got my spyglass. I bought that, just gives you a better idea of what, if you use your spyglass as you saw me do, it gives you all your enemy's health and gives you an idea of what artifacts and equipment they've got. That makes it easier to fight. Also very recommended if you're going to board someone, because you want their boarding health to be as low as possible before you attack. And if you go in there, you can see exactly how much their crew health is, so know exactly when you can go in and board them. Very useful. This is the shop. Different shops, you can sell your loot or any excess cannonballs you don't want. And you can buy stuff as well, so you can buy upgrades, I can buy extra cannons if I want, so I could switch out to short cannons, which I don't want to do. Basically, the more prosperous and larger, so I'm at the capital, so there's loads of stuff on sale. Some smaller towns will barely have anything. Can buy a new ship. This is a new hull, if I wanted to. Buy weapons, which I've already got to board. Cannonballs is generally a thing you tend to buy quite a lot of, so I've used a bit of bar shot, so I'm going to buy, let's say, 100 bar shot cannonballs. It's basically pretty self-explanatory. It allows you to decide, if you click on a cannonball, it gives you its stats, so high quality regular cannonballs, basically mainly hull damage, good range. Bar shot, slightly lower range initially, but then loads of sail damage, not very much crew damage. And you get special shot as well, so you get hot shot, which is good for setting enemy ships on fire. Smoke shot here is quite defensive, fairly short range, doesn't do a lot of damage, but creates a smoke effect. You get poison shot. So they've added a bit of kind of, not historical, but kind of more fantasy based stuff. Remember, you've got magical stuff in here as well, which is A, really cool, and B, just kind of gives it another aspect as well. It just makes the game just a bit more atmospheric, gives it a bit more excitement with the magical artifacts as well, which is quite cool. So what I'm going to do now is going to have another brief cut. I'm going to go back into the world, and I'm going to try and do a quest mission, which is a bit more difficult, and might get a brief sort of boarding action going on, and I might be able to see some sea monsters as well, which I'm really hoping for, because that would be cool. So I'm just going to have a brief cut again. Okay, so I've jumped back in, I've stocked my ship up with all the ammunition I need, and I've got a quest marker over here. This is a quest. Basically, there's a rogue captain, I need to capture him, so basically I need to go in, whittle his ship down, and then I actually need to board it, so I can't sink it in this case to be successful. I need to basically whittle his crew down using the right type of ammunition, make sure I know what I'm doing, go in at the right time, board his ship so I can then capture him, so that's going to get my quest reward. So I'm going to jump in here. Now, where's he at? There's a fort over there. I don't want to get too close because that fort belongs to the faction that hate both of us because he's a pirate, and that faction just don't like me. So he'll shoot at any of us if we go in range. So we're going to avoid him, and we're going to just try and take this guy out on our own. So as soon as we come in range, we're going to load the right shot. There we go. So again, I'm going to start with the bar shot, which takes out his sails. And let's get the spyglass up. Annoyingly, I can't steer the ship. You can't actually see that when I've got the spyglass up, which is annoying because you have to keep the spyglass on him for a certain amount of time to get all the information. You know, he's got a crap ton of artifacts. So this looks like it's going to be a difficult fight. So basically I'm going to try and stay out of his range as much as I can, whittle his sails down, and then try and stay out of his broadside so he can't catch me. So I've used a spyglass, so I know what his health is, so I know exactly when I want to board him, and when his sails are going to be too low, that he's basically not going to be able to spin around and catch me. So first broadside with the bar shot. Gotta get maximum accuracy here. So he's got 3 artifacts. I'm not exactly sure what they are yet. I think they're mainly weaponry as opposed to actually magical weapons. So he's got some mortars. And he's got a weird Gatling gun looking thing, which I don't like. So you like the storm effect as well. The weather effects do actually tend to play into the game. So I've got, in this case, I've got a bit of a stormy situation going on. So you actually do have physical limited visibility, which is quite a cool effect. Music as well. I do love the music, the battle music. They've done a really good job on a lot of details that, of such a cheap game and kind of an indie title as well, that not a huge amount of people are playing at the moment. I'm impressed about the kind of the details they've got, just like the weather effects. They look really nice. The graphics are actually really impressive, actually. And you get sort of, if you look up, you get kind of good horizons. At night, you get kind of star signy effects. Just the little details, just the sounds and just the music, just it all adds up. And like the sort of flash, the lightning flashes in the background are really good. Just gonna try and start the water again. Lost one of my guys to his chaser cannons, where the sort of front cannons. Like those ones he's firing there, I can't stay completely immune to him, which is probably fair. So I've taken his sails down to about half, so we're doing alright at the moment. So bigger ships aren't necessarily the best. They're slow, they've got a hell of a lot of firepower, but they're slow. Lost another bloody crewman. Should have enough to keep me going. Just need enough. Once I've whittled him down, I can get a boarding action. If I stay out of his broadside, I should be okay. So you can see his sails, again, just the detailing, the sail damage, it's obvious from a distance. There's sail damage, you can see the rocks in the distance there. It does feel quite tense with the battle. Once I was doing one of these missions, huge RC monster dived out the sea, and just a big marker appeared, and just started smashing up anything that was under it. It was just, this game throws some curveballs at you, but it's just such good fun. So I've nearly downed him. Just make sure, yes, he's got 3 artifacts there. He's got some mortars, and he's got a couple of other things I'm not familiar with. Okay, he does a close view. So I want to completely eliminate those sails just so he can't turn. So I'm going to give it one more, then I'll switch to my shrapnel shot. So basically I don't want to damage the hull because I don't want to sink him, so I'll go for the sails. Switch to shrapnel, which specialises in taking out the crew without damaging the ship. Which is that one here in this case. So I've completely postponed him, taken out all his movement. But now I've got my shrapnel ready. I can take out his crew. The ship's intact, but I can board him, hopefully at least, if everything goes to plan. Without any issues. I've actually strayed a bit too far away. I need to go in slightly. I think he still does drift generally in the direction of the wind, which is towards me in this case. He's still got his chaser guns. It's going to be a tough fight still. Still a lot of damage I can take here. I've got to whittle his crew down as fast as I can. Lost one of my guys. Kind of whip it round. Should still be in range, I hope, from this side because I'm moving forward slightly. No, not quite. Come on. Oh, how is that not in range? Again, the game is a little bit rough around the edges. I really think I'm in range here, but the game's telling me I'm not, which is quite irritating. You do get used to it, but... There we go, we're just in range there. Oh, come on, that was in range. So annoyingly, I've lost a lot of my crew. I've only got 386 out of my crew there, which is slightly irritating. Need as much as possible to board him. I might have to completely take his crew out before I go in there. I will explain just because there's a bit of a lull in what's going on. Basically, when you board, you basically lock onto the enemy ship, and then based on how many crew you've got, kind of the weaponry you've got, and how many, say, the captain skills and stats you've put into boarding, and your deck crew, you're basically going to square off until one side goes down, or you manage to break apart. And basically, if one side goes down, the ship basically then is taken, and I think you get a little bit more loot. Again, game doesn't really explain it. I would have assumed, and by having boarded a few ships successfully, I believe you do get slightly more loot if you manage to board a ship as kind of a reward for not just sitting and sinking it and just picking up whatever loot drops off. I think you get a bit more loot from boarding a ship. Again, the game doesn't really explain these things very well, so that might not actually be the case. I really wish you wouldn't fire these bloody guns at me. They're not very nice. So I believe the idea is, normally you basically lock on, and then whoever's deck health goes down the quickest is then going to lose that match. So basically the idea is, He's got quite a fairly strong deck crew by judging by the amount of shots and the size of his ship. He's probably got quite a big ship, so he's got quite a big crew. I need to basically try and take him out as much as I can. If I manage to take all his crew out and just board it, he'll basically just lose immediately because all his crew are dead. So his ship will just be drifting. Annoyingly, these chaser guns are really long range, so I can't get a range of them. He's really doing a number of my crew, actually. What's his crew strength? So he's still got 384 to my 204 at the moment, so I might not be successful. I'm recording this live, so to speak, so I might not win this game. I'm not going to guarantee it. I'm going to put this up either way. I just wanted to give you an example of maybe a slightly tougher battle. I haven't really seen much of the artifacts and kind of magical abilities, which is a bit of a shame, because they are just so much fun. They're really cool to see when just the tentacles come out and grab you in the water. I think I tried to do this mission earlier when I went to the fort, which I've now lost because I think we drifted so far away from it. That was, if I got too near to that, you could see a big flash of light in the fort, which meant they activated their magical ability, and these tentacles came out of the water, grabbed a hold of me, and basically limited my movement for a bit, did a bit of damage to my ship. So it just gives you adds a kind of another aspect of tactics and kind of interest to the game. Gives it a lot of atmosphere as well. Just when you're in a sort of big stormy, big open sea area, and there's sea monsters flying about, there's magical abilities, there's lightning being cast at people, just makes it seem very Davy Jones-esque. Really cool. What's his crew strength now? 36. I think I'm going to pummel him one more time with an inaccurate fire, then I'm going to board him, so I'm not going to accurately fire this one. So I think I've just got enough. I've got quite a low crew strength because he's been popping me, but he's got next to nothing, so I should be okay to take him. Unless he gets this broadside off. So we're going to wait for the marker. Lay aboard. Didn't quite get the broadside off. Got in. Managed to capture him. Got quite a lot of loot. Got a bit of favour. So, successful mission in this case. And again, I'm now in the open sea mode. I can then go straight back to the main map. I can drive around if I want. That's the fort. The exclamation point's over there. I might see if I can get close enough to it just to see, because I think they have the sort of crack and slow you down ability thing. I'm not sure what it's called. Use the speed up mode, might be able to just show that off. But that's an idea. Basically, you saw me board there, the two ships get pulled together, and then basically I clicked on my weapon, so that when I click on the weapon it does a round of fire, takes out a bunch of their crew. He does the same to me, but because he had so little crew, he basically died immediately. One thing I would say, just again as we're drifting, a bit more of a thing. It would be nice to see a bit more boarding. I think it was only recently added to the game. It's a bit lackluster at the moment, to be honest. There's not a whole lot. You just kind of lock in together, and then one side automatically just knocks health down, and then it's just kind of a numbers game by that point. It doesn't really affect anything. There you go. There's the Kraken ability. Pulling me around, it's limiting my movement, limiting my steering. So basically gives me a chance to lock me down. So that's just, I just wanted to show you a brief example of that, just because it looks cool. I'm just going to stay away because I don't want to try and take that fort on, because I'll leave on my own. That's a pirate fort, they don't like anyone. But yeah, I would just say, I wish the boarding was a bit better. It would be nice to go have like a full boarding cutscene, as in your board, you take whatever strength of men you have left, you take whatever weapons. If there was actually like a first person mode, a proper combat system, enjoy. But at the moment it's basically just both health bars tick down. It would be nice to see an actual system. Maybe they'll add that. I can't speak for the future. Remember, this is early access. But just a bit of a shame that wasn't in there, and there's no kind of way to go on land. But apart from that, performance-wise, seems to work pretty well. I haven't had any issues. Again, as always, I can't speak for anyone, but performance seems to work pretty well. Bugs, no major actual bugs, other than, again, just a thing where the game doesn't really tell you gives you a lot of detail. All the functions of the game seem to operate pretty well. It's just a little bit rough around the edges, and there's a few, say, tooltips. You'll go to buy something and they won't have named it. It'll just say like item _1, just because they're still sort of fine-tuning things. But the game seems to run pretty well. I've not encountered any major bugs. All the sort of quests I'm doing seem to work fine. There's no sort of quest issues or things getting sunk. The game just doesn't explain a lot of things well, but everything that is in the game seems to work functionally at least very well. Performance is fine. Final verdict, I'm really enjoying this game. This game is only, currently at least, at the time of making this, I think £9, maybe 10 on Steam, which is frankly a bargain. It's really atmospheric. The mechanics work really well. You've got different ammunition types, you've got different ships, you can customise your crew in a different way. There's sea monsters, there's sort of magic involved. You saw the Kraken thing I was talking about earlier. Sometimes you go into deep sea, a huge sea monster might charge at you and try and smash your ship apart. There's different quests you can do. The factions are a bit different, just to kind of differentiate things a bit. It's not got a big story, but it's full of character, and I'm really loving this game. It looks great, the effects are great, the music's fun. The stormy, it really feels sort of dark, stormy nights. The stars are out. Sometimes you get constellations. Can't see it at the moment. But I'm just really enjoying this game. I think it's a really well put together sort of indie piece. So I'd recommend if you like a pirate game and you've been waiting to sort of break the lull in pirate games that don't seem to be that good at the moment, I would really recommend picking this up. So I'm going to end it off there. I'm very impressed by this game. So thank you very much for watching. Apologies if I rambled at any point. It's going to be quite a long video. There's a lot to digest. I've tried to explain it all in one video. But hopefully it's self-explanatory enough. If you have any questions, please leave them below in the comments. I'll see what I can do with them. And I think that's just about it. So thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.